Hello and welcome to this first tutorial video for DXEngine, an open source DirectX 11 game engine written in C++. In this series of videos I'll demonstrate how to implement several components of the game engine. Please bear in mind that the engine is still in its alpha stages. In this tutorial I'll show you how to create and manage your projects in DXEngine, as well as exploring a default project. I will use the same project throughout these tutorials to keep the implementation as simple as possible. As you can see here on the screen, I have the project manager, which is the central hub for all projects that you will create in DXEngine. As you can see here on the right hand side, we have our current projects. Currently we don't have any, so nothing will show up. We also have our project details, which I'll talk about a bit more in a minute. And lastly, we have our new project box. So what we want to do here is just type in our project name. And the next option we want to choose is which version of Visual Studio you want to use. So if you like Visual Studio 2010, then use that, but I prefer to use 2012, so I'll keep that option checked. And then lastly, you just have to select your project type. At the moment there's only one project, so we'll just leave that checked. Then finally, after that we can just, if we want to boot our project up automatically, we'll just check this, and then what we need to do is just click Create Project. This will take a few seconds as it copies the files over to their new location. And there we go, project creation completed. What we need to do now is click OK, and then it will load up Visual Studio. And we'll have our code here in the DX classes folder. As you can see, there are quite a few classes, so in the future tutorials I won't be necessarily going through them one by one, but I will be covering them to some extent. Now, okay, if we close this folder and we load up our main, we have all our includes here, which we don't really need to worry about at the moment. They don't need to be changed. And what we'll do is we'll scroll down to here. This is our main function, this is our entry point for our program. So we have various declarations here for the game window, graphics engine, all those kinds of things, which I'll go further into in later tutorials. But all we need to look at now is basically this line here and this line down here. All we're doing, all the sample project is doing, the default project, is basically we are creating a window with 800 by 600 resolution, and then we're also attempting to create our graphics surface, which renders all of our 3D and 2D graphics at the same resolution. After this, we're also binding our graphics service to a global locator, so any part of the program which wishes to use the graphics service will be able to get a pointer to it or a reference to it, so that they can use it. After this, as long as all our objects have been created successfully, we just go in here into our message loop, and this doesn't need to be changed, and if you don't understand it, that doesn't matter. Finally, this is this fairly substantial bit of code here does all our drawing eventually. So for updating our camera, then drawing things like the height map and all of our graphics, such as 3D models, skyboxes, height maps, things like that, which we'll go into in later tutorials. So yeah, what we can do now is just we can build our project. This can take up to a few minutes to complete, as there are quite a few files to compile. There we go, build successful. So what we can do now is just click play. This is also the same play button in Visual Studio 2010, as you should know by now. And then all it does is loads up a blank grey window for us at the resolution we specified. So at the moment we are trying to render from our graphics service, but obviously we haven't actually loaded anything in, so it just provides us with a clear colour. Okay, after we've saved this, we can close down Visual Studio and go back to our project manager. Yes, as you can see now, in the top right hand corner we have our tutorial project listed in our current projects section. This list is automatically updated once we've created our project. So what we can do now, say we were returning to our project manager, is we can click on the tutorial project text, and then it'll come up here with our name of our project, what program we're using to edit the game sample in, what type of project it is, and the last time we actually edited the solution for our game. So what we could do now is we can either click Start Project, which will basically again boot up Visual Studio for us, and we can get going with our code. We can also open the folder with our project in. So this comes up with our Visual Studio solution, but also if we go into our DXEngine folder, then data, we also have various things here. So we have place for assets here, so 3D assets that would be. We also have place for graphics, which would be game engine graphics, and also 2D bitmap graphics for you to use for things like UI elements. And we also have a folder for our shaders. At the moment we have the default shaders that come with the engine are ones for the height map, the main rendering, so for rendering normal 3D models, also a skybox shader and a shader for rendering 2D UI elements to the screen. So yes, the final thing we can do now is, as you may have noticed, these two circles, sort of vertices you could say here, covered by circles, and this bottom one isn't. The two with the circles mean that there's something you can click on to open up different editors. So if we hover over this one, we can see it's got height map generation. So if we click this button, it will load up one of our programs, and we can use the random the simplex noise generator to generate a 2D height map texture, which we'll go into in future tutorials. And then we also have our DX Mesh Masher, our asset tool, which I'll also go into a bit further detail in a future tutorial. Thank you very much for watching, and the next tutorial will be setting up the graphics pipeline in DXEngine.